everybody. My name is Shantanique Langston, better known as Neek Speaks. Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations. I am super excited because we are now launching the preview of our Men's and Women's Summit that's happening October 7th. It's all going down at the Southfield Marriott. We are back in person. Okay, so shout out to the Southfield Marriott. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. They are actually allowing us to have a discount for those who may want to stay, have a staycation during the conference. You can at the Southfield Marriott. You can go to my website to check out more details about that. And the discount rate is pretty nice. I think it's like 130 something a night, so you cannot beat that. But tonight we have none other than one of my special guests who are going to be presenting during the summit. Oh my God, Lucia, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lucia Pavone. Some people call me Lucia when I used to be a Spanish teacher, which is fine. I am a somatic sexologist. I live here in Detroit, Michigan. I've been in the field of pleasure, connection, tantra for over 20 years. And I'm really grateful that you've invited me on, Neek, to come and share this joy and wisdom. I can't wait to be at the summit and impart all the goodness to other people and support people.
Yes, and just to give you guys a little more background if you don't know who I am. So, I am a relationship coach, and I'm also the creator of the Relationship Conference. And we promote wholeness in the areas of singleness, marriage, and family dynamics. There's so many things that we have to unlearn, right? About what our upbringing and what's really keeping us from having the wholesome relationships that we are destined to have. And the biggest relationship that you're always going to run into over and over again is the one with yourself. I'm a witness to that. This conference, I've had this conference since 2018, and I've been evolving slowly by doing the conference, learning all about myself in the process. And so I'm so grateful again to have you on tonight. I believe it's important for us to learn things that we have never been exposed to. That's really here to help us. And so she's going to help us tonight when it comes to breathing. I know she's going to be doing a lot of that during her workshop with our men. And I may have to have you come sneak in with the ladies because I was reading your bio. I was like, oh, this is some stuff that we need to be talking about as women that we do not know about our bodies. So I want to know, and I know that people want to know too, why did you decide to go into this work?
That's a great question. Well, I like to say that it was kind of a divine purpose. Since I was young, I always had this connection with my spirituality and also my sensuality, my body, my pleasure. But I'm a first generation born here in the United States. My parents are from Sicily. So they grew up very differently. And their idea of talking about sex was like non-existent. I remember actually having to get a book for my mom when I was in 8th grade and she'd had to take it 4 daughters already, so learning about, my body, pleasure, and joy was something that always sparked my interest, but then it really became that divine purpose. I'm a mom, and I was in a long, long marriage for 23 years and came out of it. And so relationship is something I value, I love, and pleasure in relationships is so underrated, especially when you involve children. And nobody really ever taught me to communicate. Nobody ever taught me how to integrate spirituality into my sensual life. So I knew that, when the time came, it was a calling and I said yes to it. So it's something that is just an innate part of me. But it's been my own personal journey, right? So all of these experiences over the past 30 years, I'm 50, so in my early 20s, all those little things that I was like, why am I doing this? Or why am I doing this? Or why did this happen? Or why am I going this path of studying extended orgasm? Why am I studying Tantra? Why am I studying? it's all coming to fruition so that I can actually share all of that wisdom and support other men and women to unlock those places in themselves.
That is so good. And I think the biggest thing is that we have to unlearn what we were doing, experimenting.
Yes.
That's the key word. Like people were doing things in high school and in college. Because again, I know I skipped sex ed. I did. So I didn't learn anything. And my mother, and I was just talking to my business partner earlier, because we were talking about the conversation of sex. Like no one talked about that. No one's still talking about it for real. They're just saying go ahead and do it. It's okay. That's not okay. You need to learn your body. But I don't want to go in too fast because I have an OBGYN who's going to be on in a few weeks.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
she's going to be going in about certain things because social media is lying to us. I do not listen to a lot of the stuff, a lot of the influencers. No, it's very important to listen to professionals. Get that professional advice. That's why where our conference is, we bring professionals. Okay, I don't know if we bring anybody that's on the platform, but people who know what they're talking about, so that you're able to experience yourself in a relationship in a wholesome way,
Yes.
and not generic or one person getting theirs and you're not. Let's keep it real, okay? Like that's a problem I've been seeing with a lot of people that come to me, and I'm like, you need to come to the conference because there's so many people that can really pour into you in
Yes.
areas where I can't because I'm abstinent. Okay, so I'm limited. Okay, so I know I'm smart enough to grab people who have more experience in certain areas than I do. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is why the conference exists. This is why the Men's and Women's Summit is important. And we would love for you guys to join us. Of course, all the information that you want to know about the conference is on the website at www.meekspeaks.com. If you have questions you want to ask, feel free to hit us up in the chat. We will not be on this live long. We're just here to give you guys a little sneak peek of what's going to be going down during the event in October. So I do want to dive in before we go into my next question, because I did have a question about breath work, because
Mm-hmm.
I know that's something you're going to be
Yes.
doing with our men in
Mm-hmm.
their session.
Yeah.
So before we talk about that, I do want to say something about the whole sex thing, because I was sheltered, right? And so there were certain things I did not know. And even in that, I had to learn discipline
Yes.
within myself because I don't want to put myself in a position to do something that I know will jeopardize how I would feel about myself. So that self-worth is a big problem that's not being talked about in the house.
Huge.
It's about the sex talk. What about the self-worth? You know.
Okay, that's a huge one. I think first there's multiple levels with that, Nick. So one level is that we're taught on a societal level what it means to be worthy. Another level is experiential. Another level is through religion. Another level is through maybe in epigenetics and our trauma and our wisdoms, that we've been brought up with in our bodies, and innate feeling. And so self-worth, here's this one piece where there's a lot of the person who really gets to decide your worth is yourself more than anything. Nobody else gets to actually make those judgments. And what I like to say to people is some people are like, make judgments around body count, or some people make judgments around so many different things. But
Correct.
here we're in a place now where people grow and people change, and they can change and make decisions. But if you're out there and you're thinking, well, I've never had sex, or I'm abstinent, or abstinent, or I've had so much sex. There's no right way to live in these bodies. We are learning. This is part of our journey, is to learn and to actually do the deep dive around our own joy, our own pleasure, and our own divinity, because it's not separate. And so the only person at the end of the day that is your judge is you and your maker. And so that's how I look at it, is like every step of the way you can take steps and make new choices to make a different decision. So if say, you didn't like how you experienced your sexuality, or maybe you've had trauma, or maybe you've had, deep wounds around relationships, or patterns with family, there's always an opportunity in your life when you take those steps, like even coming to a conference like this with other people and doing this deep dive around relationships between the masculine and feminine, men and women, that starts within yourself. That divine masculine and feminine energy within yourself needs to be in balance so that you can be in harmony in those relationships, because you're going to be reflecting each other in different parts. So, this piece around healing that shame or that guilt for anything, that's essential. And you know where it gets stored, Nick, is in our womb space. And everybody has womb space, and I talk a lot about that. Men have something called hara. And so this is an energetic womb space, and women have their wombs, right? Not just their uteruses, but there is an energy. Their womb space includes their uterus and then their ovaries, and that's like where they're the energy producers. So I'll talk a lot about that at the conference with the men in breath work, and how there's natural dynamics and roles and how energy is transferred. So this is the piece, is like you are your own healer. We're all healers, but the person you're healing is yourself. I can't heal anybody, I except myself, because I know me. And so I can be a bridge for divine energy. I can be a support with wisdom and knowledge and expertise. And that's where I come in.
Yeah, see, and I was just thinking about a few things as you were just explaining this. I was thinking, wow, I wonder how many women have experienced stillbirths and miscarriages, because of the womb,
Oh,
those that trauma has been locked up. I want, that made me think about that. And so this is why
yes.
you all should be here. If you experience miscarriages, this is the place to be to do the breath work. So I want you to dive in just a little bit, give us a little bit about that breath work and why it's important for men. Because I know you're going to be talking to our men, especially
Yeah.
on this topic.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I have this saying, I've been saying this for a long time, that orgasm is the breath of God. Now, most people think that orgasm is that end goal. That's a climax, but orgasm in itself is energy. And energy, that kind of energy, is actually really healing, and it heals our body. But the vehicle for it to move and travel is our breath that hits each one of our chakra points, our breath that supports the expansion within our cells and our blood. And so oftentimes a lot of that energy is localized. It stays local in our genitals, right? Whether we are um, men or women, most people keep it down there, down in their genitals. And that's also where our trauma is stored. And
Mm.
so when all of that is tight and clenched in there, all the other parts are not getting fed and nourished and healed and open. And so women, often talk about their man not opening their hearts, or, men often talk about like women who, kind of just keep the energy down there, and they don't feel that deep, intimacy with their woman. They're just going through it. It's like learning new skills to actually be responsible for your energy, to move it, and not always have to go for that climactic goal, because we're really taught poorly in school. We're taught about reproduction, but we're not really taught pleasure based, sensual based sex education. We're talked about what I call the P&V. You can figure that out. P&V sex model. And that model can be really limiting for people with vaginas, because, let's face it, there's studies out there that show 25% of women can climax with penetration alone, but they need clitoral stimulation. The other side, 75%, they're not climaxing. They're not even thinking, they're not even feeling that orgasmic energy. So we have to really start to reteach
Yep.
the basics of pleasure, which include opening up our senses. And how do we open up our senses and get connected? Our breath.
Holy, I hope y'all come to this summit because you're going to miss out. Okay, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it the next couple of weeks, but I'm telling you that you do not want to miss out, because I'm just sitting here in awe, just listening to her. I'm like, this is why people are missing it. So many people I follow on social media, and lost because they are listening to the wrong people who are not educated, who do not know half of what we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that we got to do, and I just posted this in my stories on Instagram, is that you got to be willing to slow down. And the breath really is about you, is you
Yeah.
connecting with yourself. And sometimes facing yourself is a challenge. I know because hello, like she said, healing yourself. Yes, because I'm on my healing journey. I've had support along the way. I have a trauma coach,
Yeah.
all right, that I go to. So just because I'm out here, I'm doing things. Let me tell you, if you are a leader, you should have a mentor. You should have a pastor. You go into somebody you can account to because as you teach, you still also need to be mentored. Somebody you need to go ahead and just vent to. You need a counselor. Every one of us, so don't be fooled by 1 second that I have it all together. No, I also have a trauma coach that I go to so that I'm able to release certain things. And then I also have techniques that I do at home. But again, you got to be willing to take yourself on that journey, that step to healing. And this is why we are here to help you. And I'm so grateful that you came on here tonight to share this. So, what is one piece of advice?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are filled with wisdom. When I first met you at the school, when you were talking, I said, "Oh my God, what does she do outside of here? I never knew." I mean, you told me, I said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta have her." So, what is one word of wisdom that you would share with someone who might be facing, like they're racing in their mind constantly? Their
Mm-hmm.
mind is constantly on the go. What do you say to someone like that?
Oh, well, I think that's a great question. A lot of us are filled with anxiety just by the nature of being in the bodies that we are in and with all the things that are around us. What I say to people who are going through that, this too shall pass. Find moments in your day to make yourself the priority no matter what. Start the day with the bits and pieces. Like every day I have, um, I don't even call it ritual anymore. It's just my way of being, right? I connect with my body. I do my breath work. I connect. A lot of my practices are based in Kemetic spirituality, Kemetic yoga, and so Egyptian and tantric pieces from ancient Kemet. So I connect with Aset and Ra, and I bring in that energy into my body. So creating the connection you have with your own spirituality, with self, really keeps me grounded. So I say, so find that inner peace within yourself, your divinity, your balance, and go take your shoes off and put your feet in the earth, in the soil, because I've been grounding. It's called grounding. I've been grounding for pretty much my whole life. My mom used to make fun of me saying that she couldn't find shoes that fit my feet because they were so big. But my feet are they're not big. They're wide, and I love I love getting them dirty and in the ground. And I know a lot of us want to go get our manis and petties, and that's fine too. But in the process, in between, go put your hands in the dirt, be with nature, and that is the best way to come back into your grounding and your breath and the natural circadian rhythm that our bodies actually are made for in this lifetime. So we do connect with the energetics of the universe. We are not separate from nature. So when we realize that we can actually come back into those places, that is the place to come. And by doing that, we become closer with ourselves. And why should you come to the conference? I think that was the question as well. Like, why
Oh
should
yeah, that's the last. Yeah.
did you
Go
ask me
ahead.
that?
Go ahead. You're on the road. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, so all of this is connected, right? The reason you should come to the men's and women's summit is because so often we have been really pitted against each other uh, because of so many reasons. The media pushes like that we're separate, but it's the time now to actually start to share the things that we really do want in common. And I think most of us can say that we want to see each other in our wholeness, to feel love, to have great sexual and sensual experiences together, to create legacy, to create our kingdoms together, and there's all different types of relationship styles available. But learning about yourself with the reflection of the divine masculine and feminine together is actually something really special. And so many times, I've done retreats with just women. I've done retreats with both men and women, and courses with men and women. And one of my favorites is when men and women come together and they can actually focus on being truly who they are, and within that space of their open voice and choice, share from a place of their potency. It's one place people are like, well, be vulnerable, be vulnerable. Well, speak from your truth, and that shows up as vulnerability. It's not weakness, and that's the thing to like impart to people, is that being in your openness and listening in a situation like this is going to allow for all of those roles that we've been hearing in media around, men elevating women and women submitting and what does all that mean? Like, so come to this conference so that you can actually see all those parts, learn about how to keep your body, mind, heart, body, and finances, and all those things like in together, because they're not separate. They're not separate. They're
They're
actually all. Your sexuality, believe it or not, has a lot to do with your money. Your sexuality has a lot to do with your parenting, your sensuality.
Oh,
So all of that is interconnected, and those are things that we don't always have in one place. Usually it's like one piece, like learn about your finances here, learn about your workouts and food here, learn about your sex here. But this is taking it all together, and this is like, ooh, it's like the crash course and get your shit together. Love
yes.
yourself. I didn't know how else to say that. Get your life, get your soul, get your purpose, back on track with yourself. And I always say, from the shit grows flowers. The most beautiful things from the compost grows the garden. And so hopefully this is an opportunity for everybody to come out and actually grow the garden, like cultivate so that they can harvest.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. That was good. That was so good. Something that you said before you went to why people should come to the conference, you mentioned about being grounded. And so, one of the things that I love about doing my trauma sessions with my trauma coach is that I do my releases outside when
Mhm.
it's warm. And so, we were at the Riverwalk when I did it, and it was a great day. Like, I was in the sun, and there was some trees, and the wind was blowing, and it felt so great. Like, I can't really explain it, but I knew that a lot of the that I was holding on to was being released. Like, every
Yes.
single time that I am in my sessions, I can notice something different about my triggers, like my trimmers. My trimmers are being released. I'm like, wow, and it shows that I'm growing. So you have to, again, like, it's you're gonna have support, but at the same time, you gotta be willing to also do the work outside of going to therapy, going to the trauma
Ooh.
release, going to yoga. You still got to do some other work. And so, and it's a journey. You got to begin to love it and nurture that because
Mhm.
you matter.
You
You matter. Your sanity matters. Like, you got to be okay with, everyone else, you can love them, but you have to love yourself more. It's not even about being so selfish. People are going to say whatever they're going to say, but the what they can say is that you're not working on yourself because you are, and they can see it. Okay, they can see it, and why not do that at the conference?
Mhm.
Learning some things that you did not know that you can take with you. And so, one thing I always want when people come to our conference is that they walk out not only with a mindset, but they also have tangible tools that they can use on their journey out the door. And so that's what we're going to have during this conference. That's what we have. Lucia, I always call her that, as one of the people who are going to be giving us some resources and tactics that we can use outside of this event. Not only that, you guys will be able to have ongoing mental health services, affordable. I'm looking to try to partner with some organizations. I can't really go into that, but we're trying to make it to where people can have affordable mental health services. That's the one thing I'm hearing from those who are between the ages of 30 to like 40 who are struggling with trying to find insurance. So that's a whole other problem that I'm looking to solve. So there's so much that I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, guys. Like this is not a joke. I'm not just putting anything together, but I'm really here for the community. And so I want you guys to know that we are here to help you the best way possible. So if you want to come to the event, you guys go on over and visit the website. Again, it's www.neekspeaks.com. All the information you need to know about the conference is on there. And I will say that tickets for the early bird is limited at this point because we're doing a lot of marketing offline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so people are getting their tickets offline. We do have physical tickets and they're selling. So listen, go ahead, don't wait until it's too late to get your ticket because we are not selling tickets at the door.
Mm-mm.
I had to tell somebody on Instagram earlier. Please note, we are not selling tickets at the door because we are limited with our seating. So first come, first serve. We want to service those who are serious about changing their lifestyle for the better. So tell everyone where they can follow you and your website information and any program you have coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. You can go to my website, luciapavone.net. You can follow me on IG. I'm under Luscious Lucia Pavone. So that's Luscious. And my name. I'm on all Facebook. I'm also Luscious Lucia Pavone. I have a page on there. But mainly IG is where I do have a 3-month container that I'm facilitating with, I call her my sister, Lady Holly from New York City. We're teaching a 3-month container called Heal Your Sexual Soul. So it is a deep dive around healing ancestral trauma, sexual trauma, and decolonizing our bodies. And it does include some deep dive into somatic work, spiritual practices, as well as energy work, and that starts in September. So if you go to IG, you can probably see some of those things for that. And I always offer a complimentary discovery session. So if you go to my website, you can schedule a session with me. It's a half an hour deep dive. It's totally complimentary, doesn't cost you anything. And also on IG, there's a link to get through there as well. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, all right, you guys, there you have it. I appreciate you, Lucia, for being on here tonight. You guys, stay tuned for next week.
Mm-hmm.
We have another guest that's going to be on. Look, I'm kind of everywhere. Y'all forgive me. Next week, we have none other than Leon R. Walker Jr. He is a recovered narcissist. He is a relationship coach, an author. He's helping women all across the U.S. He is, I think he's like TikTok sensation with his narcissistic skits that he do to help women understand how to get away from those situations. And he also helps men. And so he's getting backlash from a lot of men because he is sharing all of the deets on how to get out of situations and dealing with men and women who have those tendencies. So this man right here, you do not want to miss him. He's going to be sharing all of the tea. But this next week we're going to be talking about the importance of creating safe spaces for men. Okay, so that's a huge area that a lot of people are not really touching on. And that goes back to what you said earlier about that feminine and masculine energy. Again, everything goes hand in hand. So we're going to be touching on that. He's going to share a little bit about his book as well. So make sure you guys, if you're not following me here on YouTube, make sure you do so by clicking the subscribe button and also hit the notification button so you don't miss the next episode that's coming next week. So, did you have any final words you want to tell the people before we go?
Final words. Yeah, enjoy your pleasure. You know, pleasure's your birthright. You came out fully sensing, wiggling, and the divine blessings are all within you. So you might as well enjoy them. And awaken back up and do what it takes to have all the joy that you can on this planet, exactly the way you are. And you're all perfect just the way you are. And that includes progress and change.
Come on, I love it. Okay, I'm here for it. All right, hold on, Lucia. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, we'll be here at the same time next week at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll talk to you all in my next video. Y'all stay blessed.